Welcome to this theory series. This is designed for anyone who finds theory super confusing, like I used to. My aim with this series is to simplify theory concepts and make it easily accessible to everyday people. I used to dislike theory. I thought, this is like algebra. It's not any fun, it doesn't make any sense, and I'm probably never going to use it. And then I was taking piano exams and found out you don't get a certificate unless you complete the equivalent theory. And as I've been teaching, I've realized that the more theory that I understand, the better I can answer some of my students' questions. So it enables me to be a better teacher. So now I'm armed with a wealth of theory knowledge, and I want to pass it on to anyone who wants to learn theory but is frustrated or confused. And I want to present it to you in a way that brings you clarity. In this introduction to beginner's music theory, I'm going to explain what theory is in a perspective that helped me to understand it better. And I'm also going to talk about who can benefit from learning theory and why you might learn theory. Whenever we do something, it's important to have a why, because otherwise there's not much point in doing it. So what is theory? Basically, it's a naming system. Now, when I was first learning theory, I thought that its purpose was to explain how music worked, and I ended up getting frustrated because it wasn't teaching me how music worked. Theory became much easier for me when I made the realization that it's not about how music works. Theory is like somebody did a study of the most prolific music writers ever. Bach, Beethoven, Handel, Mozart, etc. And then they researched all of their music and discovered patterns, and then they spent a lot of time labeling the patterns. I don't know if this is actually how theory was developed, but when I understood it that way, it made a lot more sense to me. So basically, what you're doing when you're learning theory is you're memorizing a lot of patterns, and you're figuring out how those patterns work together, and you're memorizing formulas to help you remember how to find the patterns. In a nutshell, theory involves identifying and memorizing patterns and then committing their labels to memory. When I realized this, learning became much easier for me. While theory didn't initially make sense, the more that I studied it, the more components that I memorized, the better I was able to understand it in the long run. So, who can benefit from learning theory and why? While theory might not captivate everyone, some people really enjoy unraveling its complexities. They have a passion for learning theory, and it brings them joy and enjoyment, and it makes them feel accomplished. If you love theory, if you're passionate about it, that alone is a great reason to study it. However, if theory fails to ignite your interest, like it did mine, you might be asking yourself, why should I bother learning it? I don't enjoy it. What's the point? I believe there is one primary benefit to learning theory. There is also a secondary benefit, and I'm going to lay both of those out. So the primary benefit is that if you're interested in teaching music or going into any kind of music industry career, it is very helpful to pass exams and to have certificates that say you passed these exams. And in order to pass music exams, you must pass theory as well to earn the certificate, especially when you get into the higher grades. Some of the lower grades, you don't need to take theory. So if your goal is to teach music or to teach a specific instrument, learning theory is going to be important as a credential in your job hunting and career. And if you want to teach independently, as many people do, they are private music teachers, and people come to visit them and take lessons with them. you can teach up to the level that you have completed your exams. This is an excellent side hustle, and it's an excellent first source of income if you're a teenager and there you have neighbors and family and friends who want to learn piano. You can start honing your teaching skill early. That's how I became a teacher 10 years ago at 16, 17 years old. Now, the secondary benefit to completing music exams is that you can list these as accreditations or extracurriculars on your resume, even if you're not going into the music industry. Because having musical ability and being able to pass musical exams demonstrates that you have certain soft skills, such as discipline, attention to detail, goal-oriented, and dedicated to mastery. It shows that you're a very productive person and that even outside of work, you do things with your time. And this is appealing to employers. Listing the exams you've passed also reflects on your credibility, because a reputable organization has assessed your work and given you a mark based on your excellence. Credibility and soft skills are transferable across industries. So this can look quite good on your resume. As a side note, why might you want to take exams instead of attending traditional music education? There are two reasons. First, music exams are cost effective. You're paying for music lessons anyway, and you already know the music up to this level. So to pay between $100 to $300 to take an exam is not much of a crunch on the budget, especially compared to tuition, which can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Second, when you prepare for an examination, you can work at your own pace, in your own schedule, and you don't have to leave home to do it. Whereas in traditional education, you have to relocate to the place of education, and you have an intense workload where you must practice a certain amount, you must study a certain amount, and I've heard that people can sustain injuries such as carpal tunnel from over-practicing, and their sleep and mental health can suffer from cramming. Instead, when you take examinations, you can work at your own pace, you can learn organically. If you sustain an injury, you can rest, and you can be careful not to over-practice so that you don't sustain injuries. Now, here's why you might not want to learn theory. Our time is limited and valuable, and it's very important to not waste any of it. If you're going to invest time into learning theory, it should serve a purpose for you. You need to know your why. Your brain only retains information that it deems useful. So if you believe theory is a waste of time, your brain is not going to retain that information as much as it would if you were very invested in learning it. If you believe that learning theory is useless to you, like I used to, your brain may not retain the information. And this could lead to feeling frustrated, and it could prolong your learning process. Identifying your why can provide the motivation necessary to make your learning process worthwhile. It can facilitate your comprehension and deeper retention. So what are your goals? Why are you interested in learning music theory? Do you enjoy it? Do you dislike it, but you have a good reason for doing it? Leave some feedback in the comments below. I would love to hear what you're working through. Throughout this series, I will be designing supplemental material, which I'm giving to you for free. When I have a supplemental material, I'll mention it in the video, and then you'll be able to find it in the description. It'll be a link to x.com, formerly known as Twitter, and it will bring you to a post that I've made with the image attached. Once you're on that post, you can click into the image, right-click, select download, and the image will download to your device. I have it formatted so that if you want a physical copy, it should be printable on standard letter size paper. So if you want those free supplemental materials, be sure to check the links in the descriptions. There is no supplemental material for this introduction video. If you're interested in learning beginner theory concepts, follow this series. You can subscribe to the channel. If you know anyone else who is also interested in learning theory, please share. And if you like the video, please like it. Thank you for listening.